Hello and welcome to today's Community Spotlight, where I interview local companies that I have come to know, like, and trust. I'm your host, PJ Guarino with HSP Painting Company, and today I'm interviewing Brian.Mcrae with Fairway Mortgage. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, PJ.
So, Brian, you work for Fairway Mortgage. How did you get into the mortgage business?
Well, I'm actually not in the mortgage business. I'm in the reverse mortgage business. And reverse mortgages are very different than traditional mortgages. I got into that business, frankly, by accident. It was my wife, who is a mortgage originator here locally. She's very good at what she does. And she convinced me that reverse mortgages were my path, and she was 100% correct.
Wow, that's great. So, what's one thing everyone should know about hiring you?
Well, when you're working with me, it's important to understand that I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator. Reverse mortgages are complicated. They're not widely utilized right now, and it requires the touch of a dedicated professional. So reverse mortgages are all I do. They're the only service that I offer. And the service that I offer is to educate my clients on all of the options that are available so that they can make the right decision for themselves. I have the luxury of treating everyone as if they were my parents. That's my last lens that I look through to make sure I'm dispensing good advice is, would I give this advice to my parents? And I have the luxury of always doing that.
Wow, that's really good, and your passion really comes through. So what's unique then about reverse mortgages, since most people, including myself, just don't know that much about them?
Well, we spend most of our lives trying to pay our houses off, and you make a house payment every month because that's what you've been trained to do. And what you're really doing is you're investing. You're investing in your home. You're investing in all that home equity. But home equity is really hard to spend, especially as we start to get older and we start to amass hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity. That becomes a very important part of the retirement equation. There are 10,000 people turning 62 every single day in the United States, and that group has simply not saved enough money for retirement. They're about $6 trillion shy of what they need, but that same group has over $10 trillion in home equity. So my objective is to help those people be able to bring an intentional and safe amount of that home equity and transition it into liquid cash to help them get their retirement.
Yeah, that's really good. So there's a lot of different companies that offer reverse mortgages, and no doubt mortgages in general, which we all know. So what's unique then about Fairway?
Well, Fairway's approach to reverse is in the retirement context. So in other words, I'm not going to try and sell you a reverse mortgage loan. We're going to talk through a reverse mortgage loan as it applies to a retirement plan or a retirement income strategy. And that very much comes from Fairway. We're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars of wealth at a crucial time, at a crucial age. And so those decisions need to be made carefully and weighed by a professional. We almost always work in conjunction or in tandem with financial advisors so that they can appropriately implement those funds.
Oh, that's great. So you've asked some very serious questions. Now let's ask a fun question. Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, Batman, hands down, the Dark Knight.
And you and the last gentleman I interviewed, you DC guys. So closing question. What's the best way for people to reach you, Brian?
Best way is my cell phone. It's always on. You can call or text. The number is 512-584-9766.
Thank you, Brian. And we'll be sure to include his contact information in our post. Thank you, Brian, for coming on our show this month. This has been another Community Spotlight where I get to interview local companies that I really have come to trust. And Brian is a great example of that. A great person, but also a great person who does what he does with reverse mortgages. Thank you and have a great day.